My first year in Tyler, coming from such a tiny school, it was a huge shock for me, and it took that whole entire year for me to adjust.
Us this morning is a former Cayuga Lady Cat. She's currently a track star at UT Tyler, Erin Thompson. Erin, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about this past weekend. Y'all were up at the Washburn Open in Kansas up there, and you won the 400-meter dash with a time of 55 seconds there. So talk to me about that's your first win this season. I know not your first win ever, but your first win this season. So talk to me about that win on Saturday. East Texas Sports Now is brought to you by East Texas Marketing Solutions. Next level digital advertising has arrived. Grow your business with advanced solutions from one of the largest digital agencies in the country. East Texas Marketing Solutions is a resource for utilizing and executing advanced multi-platform marketing strategies. Discover more at easttexasmarketingsolutions.com.
Yes. So with it being my second meet into indoor season, I mean, it felt pretty good. It felt good. The whole race was kind of a blur. I was in a daze the whole entire time, but afterwards, seeing the time, I was pretty happy with moving forward and competing the rest of indoor.
And that's interesting. I was just talking to Hannah here about indoor and outdoor track season. And so, can you tell me I never ran indoor. I ran outdoor, but never ran indoor. What's the biggest difference? Obviously, the wind, you don't have the elements and all that indoor, but what's the biggest difference from running indoor to running outdoor?
The biggest difference for sure is the track. The banks indoor, they're very steep if you haven't noticed, versus outdoor, there's no banks. And obviously, indoor track starts 200 meters, outdoor is 400. So you really have to make sure that your form and running stays intact, or it can really adjust how fast you go around a bank.
Do you prefer indoor or outdoor better?
I personally prefer for sure outdoor just because it's way easier to pass. It's almost impossible to pass on a bank. It takes a lot of effort to try to pass someone on a bank. Otherwise, you have to just wait until they're straight away.
Oh man, yeah, I could see how that would be problematic there. So again, like we talked about in Washburn, you also ran the 200 meter there. You finished fifth. So you mentioned the indoor track being a 200 meter track. So I guess for the 400 you had to go around there twice, and then the 200 was just one time. But talk to me about the differences in those races. Obviously, the meter difference is it's a little longer race, but is there a different strategy for you when you run the 200 as compared to the 400?
Oh, 100%. The 200 straight out of the blocks, you have to go the whole entire lap. You cannot slow down. I do think running a 200 indoors is more beneficial just because coming off of a bank, you kind of have an extra push to really elevate your footsteps against the track and speed up a little bit. Um, the 400, you still have to get out hard your first lap, kind of like a 200. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll get trapped behind. Like I said, it's really hard to pass on a bank track. So, 200, you can stay in your lane the first lap. On a 400, after the first lap, you have to cut in. So, you want to be the first one to be able to cut in. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to pass.
Yeah, I can. I'm just visualing it now and seeing like these at the Olympics and all this stuff where they are just in a big group just running. And it seems like there's just elbows going all over the place. So it can get tense. You haven't elbowed anybody, have you?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Okay, not yet. I like that. I like that. So let's talk about your time there at UT Tyler. You're a junior now, so you've been there 3 years. What is talk to me about leaving Cayuga and then showing up at UT Tyler? What was that experience like? Your first year in college?
Oh my goodness. I tell a lot of people this story. My first year in Tyler, coming from such a tiny school, it was a huge shock for me, and it took that whole entire year for me to adjust. Everything was different. Everything was bigger, and the competition was on a level I've never experienced before. So it took a lot of time management and adjustments in a new environment, traveling all the time, which I was not used to, being on the bus, being around so many talented athletes at one time, way older than me. Also, I was just a baby freshman, so it took a lot of self improvement to make it through the year, but I made it.
Yeah, you made it. Now you're kind of one of the elder stateswomen up there at UT Tyler now, being an upperclassman. So how has that experience, like you just explained, coming from a small school and now with bigger competition and more athletes and all that? As a junior now, how do you help the underclassmen coming in, the freshmen that are starting? How do you help them kind of adjust to that life? How it took you to?
Definitely. I have a lot of advice to give to the younger generation, to the younger freshmen coming in. A lot of them come from bigger schools, so they're kind of used to the bigger competition, more people around. But I always remind them, can't get worse than my freshman year, because I truly believe it cannot get worse than my freshman year. And you can 100% ask my coach. There's videos. I was just like, what was I doing my freshman year? I have no idea. So I think on our team, we have several freshmen that come in, and they're already starting in a better place than I was. And I just know they're going to develop so well, and they're going to achieve a lot. But freshman year is hard on everyone. It was especially hard on me, but everyone goes through that freshman year, and you just have to get through the first year, and after that it's uphill. I swear it's just uphill, but you just have to get through the freshman year.
Yeah, that first year is a bunch of newness, a bunch of change that happens. But yeah, like you said, after you get past that first year, it's a lot smoother. But that first year is sometimes a struggle. I want to ask. I know, obviously, track you're competing individually a lot, right? Like against other runners, or maybe against your own time, against competition. How much is the team aspect? How close is the track and field team over there at UT Tyler?
Oh, I would say we're pretty close. It's like family, especially just noticing how much we've grown since I've been here the past couple years. Everyone that comes in, they easily fit in, they easily get closer. Obviously, the upperclassmen help invite and bring in the freshmen, and as well as our internationals. I mean, I know it has to be super hard for them coming all the way overseas to a different country in general. So I think UT Tyler is very good at welcoming everyone and making them feel like brothers and sisters on the team.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You talked about coming from Cayuga to Tyler was a big deal. Think about coming from Spain to Tyler. Like that is a massive difference.
It is.
So let's talk. One more thing I want to ask you here, or a couple more things I want to ask you. I'm just going to run through some of these records that you have, okay? And I want to get your thoughts on it. So you hold the program record for the 400 meter indoor. You're second in the 200 meter, second in the high jump, and third in the pentathlon for the indoor. And then on the outdoor, you hold the 200 and 400 meter and the long jump and the heptathlon record. You're third in the 800 and second in the high jump. So I know I ran through a lot of stuff there that I'm sure you already knew. But when you hear those accolades, and you're only a junior, and when you hear all those accolades, what does that mean to you?
It just means it shows how much I've grown as a person and an athlete, and just how much you can develop. And maybe you're not expecting to develop, but everything happens for a reason and comes as a surprise most of the time.
When you break these records, do you know about it when you break it, or do you wait till you like get back to home or whatever and then hear about it, or do you know about it right as it happens?
I typically don't know about it until I come back home, and then there'll be a post or a coach will send me a text. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I did not know that. Um, Like kind of like the last meet, I had no idea I won the meet until I got back home, and actually one of my old teachers had called me and was like, "Congratulations!" I was like, "On what?" And she's like, "On the meet, you're gold medalist." I'm like, "Oh." So usually it's when I get back. Usually when I'm at the meet, I'm in the moment,
Yeah.
trying to. I have so many events to cover, so I'm just like, okay, next event, next event.
Just keep
And
going.
then I get back, I'm like, okay, that's how I did. Okay, I didn't do as bad as I thought. So,
That's awesome. That's crazy to me. Like I know, and I know it's different in college, but like when I was in high school running track, I know there was a lot of like, oh, how did I finish? And go look and try to find the time. But you're right, and that's why
right.
you're a collegiate athlete, and I'm not, because you're more focused on those things. I want to ask you about Cayuga and growing up in Cayuga. You mentioned small town, but what was it like growing up there, and kind of what was the community support like?
Oh, the community support was amazing. I loved it growing up in Cayuga. I loved the school. It was a big sports school, and the community was so welcoming and tight, a very tight community. Like I said, we're small, so it's like, what else do we have to do besides get close? Um, but I definitely would not be where I'm at today without growing up in such a tight, loving community.
Well, and you mentioned that you heard from a former teacher. She told you that you won the gold medal. So how much community support do you get from back home? How many people reach out and just congratulate you and all that? And what does that mean to you?
Oh, I love it so much. It means so much to me. A lot of support comes from Cayuga, being back home. A lot of people follow me, follow my running, my meets, watch it online, the live results. So it just means so much coming from such a small school and having everyone there still following me years down and still using me as an example to their athletic program there and as they grow and become more developed as a small school.
Well, last thing I want to ask you, then I'll let you get out of here. You're off this weekend, but then next weekend y'all head to Pittsburgh, Kansas for the Gorilla Classic there in Pittsburgh. What are your expectations for that meet, and kind of what are your expectations for the rest of the indoor season as we get going here?
Oh, my expectations are definitely high. I definitely plan on breaking 55 and sealing the deal moving forward into nationals. My PB is a 53, so my goal is to get at least a 54 or under, and just seal the deal and move into nationals and go into outdoor.
All right, Erin. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us this morning. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and best of luck to you the rest of the season. And I'm sure we'll talk to you down the road.
Awesome. Thank you for hosting me.
Yes, ma'am. East Texas Sports Now is brought to you by East Texas Marketing Solutions. Next level digital advertising has arrived. Grow your business with advanced solutions from one of the largest digital agencies in the country. East Texas Marketing Solutions is a resource for utilizing and executing advanced multi-platform marketing strategies. Discover more at easttexasmarketingsolutions.com. Now imagine with me for a second. Imagine you're an NFL coach for many, many years. Your number of 333 career wins, including playoffs, sits second only to Don Shula's 347. Now, stay with me in imaginary world and imagine that as that coach, you led your team to 6 Super Bowls in one of the greatest dynasties in sports. You would think that as soon as you're eligible for the Hall of Fame, you're going to be inducted, right? Well, you would be right, except in the case of this guy. Bill Belichick, the former New England Patriots coach, was notified Friday afternoon that he would not be inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer. Now, in order to enter the Hall of Fame, you have to receive 40 of the 50 votes. So that means at least 11 people didn't think Belichick should have been in on the first ballot. So Belichick fell short. So why is this? Well, many people around the league believe that it's because of Spygate and Deflategate. Now, if you remember
for Spygate, it occurred way back in 2007, and the Patriots were accused of videoing other teams' practices. Now, the scandal cost them a first-round draft pick, and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell fined Bill Belichick $500,000, and the Patriots were fined $200,000. Now, Deflategate occurred a few years later in 2015 when the Patriots were accused of deflating the footballs in the AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts. That whole scandal resulted in Tom Brady, the quarterback, being suspended for the first 4 games of the next season, and the Patriots being fined $1 million and having to forfeit 2 draft picks. Now, these 2 incidents are widely considered reasons that Belichick was not a first-ballot Hall of Famer. The team was punished for those actions, as was Belichick. I think the voters leaving Belichick out of the Hall right now is petty. There's no world where a 6-time Super Bowl champ is not a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Those incidents that occurred over 10 years ago, and some people still want Belichick punished. Now, I'm sure he'll get in eventually, but this guy should have been a no-doubt first-ballot Hall of Famer.
Thanks for joining us on East Texas Sports Now. We'll catch you next time.